everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. And Mike, finally, Alex Debrincat has come home as well. When did that happen? Did that happen Sunday night? I think that was a Sunday night thing, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm still muted.
No, I unmuted you this time. I did everything right. I unmuted you before we even started, so you were good to talk that whole time.
We got him. We got the guy who wanted to come home. Yes.
Jared, very upset, I'm guessing, that we started 30 seconds late today. Apologize, Jared.
Littering? Does he mean loitering?
Littering and...
Derek, and I don't know. I hope we find out some news about the Wings. I have to do some digging here.
Derek, of course, asking, I haven't had a chance to follow the Wings in over a week. Has anything important happened? Craig, what's going on, Craig? Chewy's aboard.
Chewy. Mr. Road Trip himself. What's up, Chewy?
Yeah, so I listened to last week's episode before we started today.
Yeah.
And we spent the entire time last week saying, yeah, these signings are fine. All the free agent signings. Fisher, Sprung. I almost threw in Cop in there just because that one's also a wet fart. JT Compher, you got Gostisbehere, you got Justin Hall. There's nothing that you were like game changer. And we kept saying, when are we going to see the game changer show up? Well, Mike, Nate Danielson signed his 3-year entry-level contract. Oh, wait. Yeah, we'll get this one out of the way. Nate Danielson signed his 3-year ELC.
Did they have to Photoshop that smile onto him, or?
You should go watch the Nintendo 64 videos on Twitter. I know you're kidding and you don't really mean it, but that is top-notch pro sports team social media. Watching Nate Danielson try and play. I think last week it was. What was that? Was that Wayne Gretzky hockey? I forgot what that was called, but that was my first Nintendo 64 hockey game. And then today they dropped the Mario Kart, but it's good fun. I like watching it.
Yeah, must see TV.
Yeah, Jared throwing it out there. Bait and switch, right? Not the. Bait and fish is what I'd like to do every Saturday morning. All right.
I got you, Matt. You're using a different bait. Yeah. Jared's saying that Nate Danielson looks like he's signing mortgage paperwork. Yeah.
No, he looks like a kindly young man. Very happy to say. Look, it's the point of me bringing us up. Number one, it happened. Number two, I think it's a.
This is a celebratory episode, but it is fun to rag this guy for not being excited to be a Red Wing. I'm sorry, man. Like he does look like he's signing his contract to start working at McDonald's. And I don't know if you saw line 26, but you do get 10% off on days where you're working.
Oh,
pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Do you think they have like an NHL shop? Like, there's a Detroit Red Wing code, right? Then there's the family code, and then there's like the extended family code, and it's just 10% off. I brought this up because I thought at least there's some news to this, because you don't have to sign these guys out of the gate.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good news, actually. Let's get the ball rolling on Nate.
Jared says the hat looks like it's from McDonald's. Actually, I can't tell. It does kind of look like a layered Burger King, like a Whopper. You know, they have the Whopper in the logo. It does kind of look like a little Whopper.
Well, you know why it looks like a McDonald's hat?
Why is it?
Because you got to make thousands of them, and they got to be cheap as hell. So there you go.
Let's try not to roast him the entire episode. We do have some good news to go over, Matt.
Well, I was roasting Fanatics. God damn it, I hate Fanatics. All right, I did want to call out Curtis. Hi, guys. I've had this theme song stuck in my head for 2 days. I'm the cat man. Skeeby-deeby dibba-dow yo dub-dub. Yoda dub-dub. Anybody?
I was going to let you take that one because I wasn't sure if it was like the Eggman, like I am the Catman. But I don't
Curtis,
know the
is
Beatles
did
that
you
well.
just make up that song? You've just been humming that one.
Oh yeah, what are they gonna play? What dorky song are they gonna play when he scores a goal at Little Caesars? Is it gonna be Cats in the Cradle? Is it gonna be something from the musical Cats?
Oh, so I guess yeah. Oh, I guess we'll go. We'll just skate past Nate Danielson's big signing, and yeah, we also traded for Alex Debrincat. Dan B, you know what? I'm pulling the slides. Damn it, we're saying hi to everybody. Dan B thrown out there. NHL '94 on Sega was his first. It's beautiful. I think actually NHL '94 on Sega was our first hockey game. Wayne Gretzky was my first 64 hockey game. But yeah, I think we started with 94 too. Where were we? Who else is here? Blake, what's going up? Going on?
Show it.
Show it. Curtis says, you know, us Wings fans are feeling good about the team when this is how the show starts. Fishing talk, making fun of our draft pick signing.
The emotional highs are back. Also, Dan thrown in a "Do you want fries with that?"
It is a great day, ladies and gentlemen, and I think today what we want to talk about is some lines, because we all know what happened. Alex Debrincat got traded over. You can see on the J Fresh player card already been updated with the 7.9 by 4 years. So let's talk about that first. Let's get into some of the details, because Debrincat's over.
Yeah.
What else is there to talk about? Here's the details. Mike, this contract is insanely good. This is all of your worst fears. And all the conversations we had last week. I mentioned I listened to last week's episode, and we just kept saying, like, yeah, these signings are fine, but where's the big bopper? And we got the big bopper. And then we got into the conversation of $10 million players. Well, guess what, Mike? We still don't have a $10 million player. So we still have room for Jack Eichel.
Matthew,
so to speak.
How dare you?
I know. I'm a monster. But we don't want to get into that conversation again. But this is everything. Like when we're going through the J Fresh player cards and anybody that we've been like sort of targeting, it's the finishing, it's the power play, and Alex Debrincat is in the top 10% in the league. The even strength offense is there. The goal per 60 is there. He's a safe player with, or I should say, a responsible player. Top 3% in the league and penalties, and his teammates have been good. Top 94%. So you got to pair him with some good team.
Yeah. Does that remind you a little bit of Datsuk, who he said was his hero growing up? He's going for that Lady Bing award, man. Huh?
Did he say that was his hero, or was he asked who was his favorite player to watch on the Red Wings, and he picked Pavel?
We're gonna say his hero was Pavel Datsuk.
Was that an art question? I can't remember.
It was a fluff question. No, that's 7.9 over 4 years, Matt. We talked so much about it in the last episode, how frustrated we are with Yzerplan, like trying to win trades. But Yzerplan obviously ignored us and was patient and waited and won another trade. And then he won the contract negotiations by getting this guy under market value. I believe the estimated deal was like 8.5. And for Steve to get him under 8 is a miracle for a guy who's already proven he could be a 40-goal scorer. And he's 25 years old, Matt. He's still technically 2 years from his prime. So, I mean, a lot of positive things to be excited about. I don't know if you want to talk about the contract and the trade in the same breath, because that was a hell of a swindle, Matt. I was texting you about it, and I don't think I've even heard of that kind of like draft protection in the NBA. And the NBA is awesome at bullshit. Right. So when you texted me and said, yeah, we did have to give up rubies, Kubi rubies. We did have to give up a fourth. We had to give up Sebrango, who it was going to be really tough for him to make this team. And at first, my concern was, oh God, what kind of first round like top 10 protected? And you said, no, Steve's just going to pick which one he doesn't want to give up next year. And I've never heard of that before. I've heard of protection, like, 1 through 10 on picks, 1 through 5, lottery protection. I've never heard of the GM's just going to decide based on which team is worse. He's going to give up that pick next year. That's wild to me. So bravo to Yzerplan for being patient and inventing a new way to trade picks.
So the big asterisk on here is that the Boston's pick was top 10 protected. When Boston traded it over. So it is, if it lands in the top 10, Boston can be like, we're keeping this. But in the event that doesn't happen, which is pretty good, Steve just gets to pick, which pick he'd like to send over. Awesome. I joked around with Max Boltman and I said, I was ready for you to type up that Steve could just decide to keep the first. The way that this whole thing was rolling itself down. It just, it really, when I went back and listened to last week's episode, and we were very hard on Mr. Yzerplan. And you know what? For the things we talked about, there's still potentially issues. And for the same reason we called them out. The Andrew Copp contract last year, the Ben Sherratt contract, the Comfort contracts. We talk about a lot of flexibility in the Debrincat contract. Not a lot of flexibility in those. I can't imagine people are going to be kicking down doors to take those contracts off your hands. So you're stuck with those. And, we've always made this is a celebratory episode, but just to kind of hammer down that point, like we've always made the point, overpay your superstars and underpay your middle six, bottom six. So like find a way to do that. Like find the value there.
Yeah.
And Steve did the exact opposite. And that says two things. One, how we kind of lost some free agency. I was going to say negotiations. There we go. We lose the unrestricted free agent conversations, but Steve for sure made the right move to bring over a guy who didn't have the same unrestricted leverage that those guys did, because Steve destroyed in that negotiation. Think about when we used to talk about Bertuzzi's restricted free agent contract negotiations, and Steve would just absolutely roll over Bertuzzi. I have a feeling that, the Comfort, the Copp contracts we've talked about are issues for when we're trying to re-sign Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider coming up. We might not have anything to worry about, to be honest. Those contracts might become the ultimate bargain, is what we're going to see in the next go around, which does mean eventually you're going to have to pay those boys a ton if they become super duper stars. But maybe that's just a problem down the road. But anyway, what we're seeing, I would say, is when there's an R in front of the FA, Steve Yzerplan's going to win that negotiation, and he's just going to get absolutely steamrolled in those unrestricted free agent conversations.
Isn't that wild?
Like, if he ends up negotiating with Austin Matthews, he's going to be asking Gary Bettman to increase the cap ceiling.
I gotta say, I can't think of another team that had to manage the cap that way, where they picked up like fringe depth at 20 to 25% over market value, and then shrewdly negotiated every single superstar contract on their team. It's wild, Matt.
It's crazy.
Like Larkin under market value, Debrincat under market value. Like he said, it'll probably happen to poor Lucas and Mo. They'll get seduced by this Jedi mind trick. And, we got these 5-year, $5 million deals for guys who, might end up being the 10th or 12th or 15th best player on the team.
Now, I did, there was somebody who put it out there, that we ended up, Ken Young here. Bottom line, all we really gave up was a first. Now, I am going to miss the Kubi rubies. Dan B threw out there, don't want to be a downer, but if Kubalik has 30 rubies and Cat only scores 25 to 30, will we be as happy? No, we will not be as happy. But the likelihood of that happening, you would say there's a very strong likelihood that Alex Debrincat is going to outscore Kubalik, and that's what you're moving those guys for. That's why one is okay for Steve to drop like a bag of rocks. But you also had to give Ottawa something. And, save for a few notes there and we talked about this last season, save for a few notes where Kubalik was on like a hot streak, man, does he disappear. Holy mackerel. So that's what you're kind of hoping for, is a little bit more consistency, which, Mike, this is the last 3 seasons. All goal scorers across the NHL. Alex Debrincat is 12th in the league, bringing in 100 goals, going from the 2020-2021 season to, on through to the 2022-23 season. 100 goals, 62 primary 6 assists, 38 secondary assists, 200 points. This coming from, oh my gosh, what the hell is it called? Evolving Hockey. I'm looking at this. I wonder did I do even strength here? Anyway, even strength, total, whatever. Top 12 is incredible. You have a top 12 goal scorer on your team, Mike. This is huge. Yeah. This is what you traded for.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this too. Because it seems like he wasn't super excited to be in Ottawa. And I'm pretty excited to see what he looks like playing in a city that he's happy to be in, with like family, that extra motivation. And I know Steve kind of noted on that a little bit in the press conferences, about talking the value of bringing in guys who have hometown ties. And then he's going to be playing with Dylan Larkin. And, apologies to some folks who've been on his line, Bertuzzi, Raymond. This is probably the best line mate he's ever had. So I'm pretty excited to see what their point total looks like at the end of the season. It, barring injuries, should be pretty lofty. I wouldn't be surprised to see Larkin set a new career high for points.
Curtis thrown out there. I really felt my age, 35, when Catman said he only kind of remembered the 0-2 championship team. Jared throws out there, makes your back ache a little bit more. You know what? What's funny? I still agree with Debrincat, not in like I remember the 0-2 championship, but Curtis, you and I are neck and neck there on the age, but I still have more love for the 08 team. Felt like 0-2, like that was special, and we get to own that as Red Wings fans, but there's something about that 08 team that I feel more ownership to. And I know that's not necessarily what the cat was talking about, but I was like answering like which championship team, do you lean towards more? And then Cat just throws it out there, of course. But yeah, I'm kind of right there. And again, I'm kind of going off topic here, but
speaking of off topic, Blake, he's cooking right now. Blake is cooking, and he's predicting Zadina pops for 40 goals and the Cat gets 17. Woo!
Blake, I thought you were gonna jump on this one. Berggren, Veleno, and Sprong would crush. Well, Mike, we have some lineups to talk about.
Ooh, you are jumping ahead, Blake. I know we're gonna get into it.
Uh-oh, whoops.
Matt
threw it a Nylander one there on accident.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to look at that.
Well, here's the cap friendly depth chart, right? Debrincat, Larkin, David Perron. That was like the default whatever. I don't know, filling out of this depth chart. Robbie Fabry, Robbie Fabry, JT Comfer, Lucas Raymond, line 2. Oof. Michael Rasmussen, Andrew Kopp, Christian Fischer, line 3. Klim Kostin, Joe Veleno, Daniel Sprong, line 4. Okay. So here's the thing. We could do a lot better than that, right? We can do better than that.
Ooh, Matt, I love when you get these together for us. These are beautiful.
Now, going back to what Cap Friendly threw out there, let's just pretend David Perron is the best answer. But I do want to come back to a conversation we had last week. Mike, does a playoff team have David Perron on their first line?
Not in the year 2023.
Thank you.
Yes. Got one. Yes.
David Perron is wonderful.
Man,
I am so happy he's on our team.
Do we love him?
Yes.
Is he a valuable part of a winning hockey team?
Yes.
Should he be a first liner?
No.
Oh, yes. 3 for 3. Right. Good job. All right. Man, we were cooking.
So the rest of the shakes out. I did move Kopp down to the third line, just my own little dig there. But I brought Rasmussen up to the second line. Lucas Raymond is on the second line. Sprong I brought up to the third line with Kopp. I'd let Kopp protect Daniel Sprong and his apparent inability to play any defense. And Berggren, who shows a pretty good two-way side to his game. So you've got your playmaker. You've got your on the third line, I guess is what we're talking. Then you've got your man that can potentially go both ways. We've been told that, right? Despite Andrew Kopp's analytics. And then Daniel Sprong. You could actually do some pretty good damage with this third line. It could give up a lot of damage too, but do some pretty good damage there.
Real quick, while it's fresh on my mind, does anyone else look at Sprong and think, "And a round thing in your face, you get Sprong"? Want to pull up tough because you know that butt was stuck. Deep to the jeans she's wearing. I really hope they play Sir Mix-a-Lot every time he gets a goal. That would really make my life.
My face just turned beet red. I did want to throw out there, Chewy, he went to the 08 parade. We were there too. Blake went to the 97 parade. I think I must have been in school because I remember seeing our dad and uncle coming home from that and just gushing about it, but we weren't allowed to go.
Yeah, we weren't invited. I did go to the 08 one. That's when I lied about having calcified plaque on my teeth so that I could go.
Oh, nice. That's a great lie.
Yeah, I thought so. My boss didn't believe me when I got back, though.
Dan B throws out there, I think Gostisbehere will be a sneaky good pickup, especially on the PP. I agree, Dan. I think that's definitely like you have a quarterback now on your second power play, and you immediately are like, okay, I don't hate the second power play, right? Like last year we got closer to that, and this year I think because you have a ghost bear on the back end, I think you can be that much more confident.
By the way,
Mike,
I don't know if you guys noticed. I don't mind your line combinations. I'm excited to see the next slides where you kind of juggle the plates a little bit. But Matt is definitely cooking the books here because I see a couple defensemen named Edmondson and Johansson. There's some pretty noticeable omissions, making about $5 million.
I forgot I did that.
Who somehow didn't make the active roster.
Well, yeah, we did skip over that fourth line, but I did want to throw in there this bottom six for the forwards.
Yeah,
it's solid. But yeah, I did throw in Simon and Albert, but you have to think there too. Projected standing points 97, and you get 0 from those two because they're not technically in the league yet.
Yeah, you get no negatives. I see what you did, Matt. You cheater.
Yeah. Jared Ghost is a solid PP quarterback. Yeah, guys, get your ghost emoji and your bear emoji ready, by the way, for the start of the season if you're not used to that.
Who first brought him up? Was it Dan B? Yeah, it was Dan B. How did I know it was Dan B? And it was Dan B. Yeah. If somehow like the Debrincat thing fell through, that was the move I was going to actually be most excited about. I'm really pumped to see him play on the power play.
Sherratt can be the doorman on the bench. Another Dan B classic here. Blake, throw it in there. Put Kopp at right wing on the first line. Drop Perron. All right. Well, moving on, Blake. Thanks. Blake, you're picking my one man on this team that I had the biggest bugaboo with. All right. Here's the second go at it.
Ooh.
Mike, a playoff team does not have David Perron on their first line. So let's see what happens with Michael Rasmussen. All right. Debrincat. I think it was Brad Galley that was asking in the press conference and was trying to lean into like his scrappiness. And Debrincat was like, that's not a part of my game. Which is so funny.
Which is weird, right? It's weird, right? Because hasn't he had like 100 hits a season, like 3 years in a row?
Well, I think it's funny to say like he's got to fight for the puck because guys are going to go after him because of his size. And he absolutely agreed. Like, yes, I do fight for the puck, but I kind of still agree that he's going to need some help on the first line, because you don't want to say that Debrincat is the scrappy guy. He's going to add to it, right? But you need somebody that's going to actually be that presence on the first line. And David Perron can be that. But I like Perron even better getting served up some sauce from Lucas Raymond on the second line, and Rasmussen coming in there with that strong full season. And of course, once he was injured last year, the team just fell apart. So let's see what he looks like on the first line. I'm putting Rasmussen on my first line with Dylan Larkin and Alex Debrincat and seeing what can happen. Let's do it.
That's
no changes on the defense.
I know there's a couple more iterations of this
we do have
Red Wing lineup boggle still to be played, but I really like that Rasmussen on the first line. Just as far as like evening out like our beef with Brass and then little fella in the kitty cat. It definitely feels like a classic like pro wrestling tag team where you got the big guy and you got the Enzo Amore as Alex Debrincat. So I'm pretty excited about this potential here.
Now, Blake, I want to call out because he's calling something out here that I noticed was a big issue with Debrincat and Perron and Lucas Raymond across all of our favorite websites. He says Debrincat plays left wing. Now, Debrincat plays left wing and right wing. So does David Perron, and so does apparently Lucas Raymond. Just they're all over the place. And people have been calling for different lineups that would have any of these right wingers and left wingers playing with Debrincat. It's just all over the place. But we do feature both sides in these, just to be fair, Blake, only because we have seen so many things online and Debrincat has played on both sides. So that's where that's coming from. But it's a good call out, Blake. And then he said, but he doesn't, but he has.
Silly.
So moving forward, here's our third iteration. Lucas makes it. He's on the left wing, and just so you know, Blake, I think we have another version of this where, oh nope, those are my Nylander versions. Whoopsies. All right, there is another version of this where Lucas is on the right wing, Debrincat's on the left. And then we're trying to figure out what are we doing down the line, right? Perron and Berggren maybe creating some offense on the second line.
Question. Can you go back one slide?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you only showed us two? I thought you showed us three. Because I was just going to ask.
That was the first one. This is the second. This is the third. So we've done Perron on the first line, Rasmussen on the first line, Raymond on the first line.
So my beef with this one is Ras is on the third line. I would just be kind of surprised if that was the case. I feel like he's winning the hearts of management and coaching, and I think even us fans are starting to understand, wow, this guy's like an integral pillar of this team, and we collapse if he dares to miss a single game now. So it feels like any iteration of the lineup boggle would have him at least on the second line. He just seems that important. So I'm not against it, but did you get to kind of muck around with these a little bit more? And this is just kind of how it fell through with Berggren on the second line?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things we could do here. None of this is in stone. Because there's more fun to be had, right? Like I kind of hinted at on accident there on the next slide.
I know there's a wild one coming, Matt, which maybe not so wild when we get to it.
Right. But kind of the point I was going to come to, Lucas and Debrincat playing on the first line, seems like it just can't happen, right? Like, can you ask Dylan Larkin to sort of protect both of these boys? I don't think
would that
so,
be
right?
a 5'7" guy and a 5'9" guy on the wings?
Oh man, that's a great question. But yeah, Lucas is not a big man, and you're not asking him. Like, they're both. You would watch both of their games, and you could see that Lucas plays hard on the boards. But you don't put him out there to do that.
Wow, I didn't know Lucas was 5'11". So it's just Debrincat who's 5'7". For some reason, I thought Lucas was
he's still
5'9".
yeah. I mean,
it's not a huge guy.
5'11".
He's a
not,
$170. Yeah.
Now Dan B throws out there 97 points projected. I'll take that. I would. I kind of wanted to cut that out, Dan. I kind of wanted to play the eyeball test here because we're still. Can we all agree, right? Like we're looking at this and we're like, all right, that's not your Stanley Cup champion, right? Do we all agree?
Yeah, right. There's room for improvement. Yeah.
Blake says Cop's great on the boards. You could put him on the wing. I know, Blake, but god damn it. All right, let's say we'll get into this conversation, but Blake, probably your call out works better, and we'll take a look at some of the boys coming down the line. And that's
the other thing too to keep in mind was last year's number 8 seed in our conference was 92 points. I think the year before it was more than that. It was like 100 points. So, but if we're going off last year, 92. So 97. Ooh, you would have been jockeying with the Tampa Bay Lightning for that, like kind of that right 5-6 seed there.
I can't. Eyeball test. I can't. This is not 97 points. Like there'd have to be some major.
So what this is saying is we had all those games where like Verana and Bertuzzi, maybe they'll play, and they were injured the whole time. So instead of having a void or a less than replacement level goal scorer, this is a full season of a guy who has already proven he's can score 40 goals in a season, not a guy who, if only.
Curtis throws out there, is Reimer really going to be the main backup after what Lyon did last year? I absolutely would love to have Lyon in there instead of Reimer. I just never even thought to look at the goaltenders. I thought the more interesting conversation was the forwards and defense. But Curtis, that is the correct call out. Everybody just use your imagination there. Just cross out James Reimer, put in Lyon for all of these different lines we've taken a peek at.
Well, let's do this. We're at 32 minutes. We got to we got to do a little bit of business, but when we come back, Matt has a really fun roster change around the corner that I think we could put a little more time into.
Around the idea that maybe
one more off-season acquisition. Maybe
there's room for one more. New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. Bet just $5 to score $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelplinema.org. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. In Kansas, call 1-800-522-4700. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino Resort in Kansas and West Virginia, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. All games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly in partnership with Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in Connecticut. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 21 and up in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after insurance. 1 boost per eligible game. Opt-in required. Max bet $50. 10+ leg required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.com. Sportsbook.draftkings.com/baseball terms.
Well, here we'll load this up one more way, but
real quick, Derek Hand saying apparently I can't skip past the ads when I'm watching live. Unfortunately, true, Derek. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. Now this is Max Boltman's take. Maybe I can make this a little bit bigger. This is what he kind of looked at, and he said, "You know what? This is a 92-point team. Perron, Larkin, Debrincat on right wing." On the first line, Rasmussen, Kopp, Lucas Raymond on his second line, Fabry comp for a Christian Fisher on his third line.
Fisher on the third line. That seems a little high.
I know. Berggren, Veleno, Sprong on his fourth line. Now, you could almost, like, looking at this, that's my third line. And that's my fourth line. Oh, you know what? No, I don't want Comfer on the fourth line. Oh my God. All right. Well, now, yeah, just flip the wingers. That's all I meant to do. I'm not even
Let's
paying.
do that.
But anyway, either way, what Boltman was thrown out there. Oh, not that they were a 92-point team in reference to the Florida Panthers this past season, but saying that he saw like the high 80s, no problem. So like this is what Boltman put together, and he said that's his conclusion. So what do we do, Mike?
Yeah.
To get a little bit better. Well, we could do what Blake wants. We're going to move Debrincat over to the left wing. Mike, we're going to trade with the Toronto Maple Leafs and bring in William Nylander. Now we're a 100-point team. Woo! We did it.
Wow. We made it.
And Perron safely drops down to the third line. You got to love it. You get a speedy Swedish line on the second line with Berggren and Lucas Raymond playing together. Comfer's going to center that line. Your third line is Michael Rasmussen, Kopp, and Perron. You're just going to absolutely destroy on that third line. And then the fourth line is, whatever. Fabry, Veleno, Sprong. Sprong, think about that. Sprong can inch up to those 20 goals and try to add that on the fourth line. If that third line is your banger line and you've got the ability to move the puck on the second line and then grip it and rip it on the first line.
Wow.
Oh, God damn, that'd be fun.
Wow. I would not miss a second of Red Wing hockey the entire season if this was the case. And Sprong, it'd be so funny. He'd basically be in the same role he was with the Kraken when he was on the team with a lot of depth. But before we get too far, there was one comment I wanted to throw in here from Decoy. Decoy, welcome. Debrincat being the biggest acquisition since Buff Backwell joined the WO, which is kind of a tongue-in-cheek, backhanded compliment there, but it made me laugh, so I wanted to make sure I read it. And then Jared taking a break from his usual comedy routine and saying a 17-point improvement, not outside the realm of possibility. If the team hadn't sold at the deadline, Rask going down, they could have finished around 90 points. And Jared, yeah, I agree.
Curtis throwing out there. Hit like if you haven't yet. Thanks, Curtis. Love you, man. Ketzel, he's aboard. He's letting us know he just came. No? That didn't do anything for you? All right, never mind. Jared threw out there later, making the Nylander acquisition. Yeah, 4-point improvement for a $10 million contract. Blake, no thanks. Jared, plus the amount of picks and prospect. No, Jared, look it. I got rid of Kopp. I traded Kopp, and now Soderblom's on my third line.
He's centering the third line. Wow, he's never done that before.
I switched the card. So I kind of played the game here that, we had to get rid of something. And, an Andrew Kopp is really the type of player that the Toronto Maple Leafs are looking
value for value in that move, huh, man?
Mm-hmm. Oh, 1-for-1, honestly.
Yeah.
In Toronto, they actually retained. I don't know if you know this, you guys. They retained half.
That was nice of them. Very realistic.
Blake, get Hall off that second pair.
So the reason that we wanted to bring up Nylander, right, is the Red Wings do have extra picks, and the Toronto Maple Leafs do have a fucked up cap sheet, and they are currently about $8 million over the threshold, and we're about $8 million under. So I feel like we could kind of, booger for booger. Let's see if we can, make a move to even those numbers out a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, they need a trade partner, kind of help balance the books. We got space, we got cap flexibility. We can add a long-term deal. Can be a little bit of an expensive player. And I mean, we got the. Do I dare say excess of prospects to potentially deal? I don't know if Nylander is necessarily, the end-all, be-all, but as far as a guy who is very good, who is going to be very available, based on what Toronto must do before the season starts, I mean, they could definitely give Steve a call. Yeah,
you're not wrong. Look, and as much as you guys are excited for Bushelnikov to come aboard, like, I've been looking around. Like, if there's a team that's struggling, you might want to you might want to jump on that and just not take the chance on Bushelnikov. Like, we could sit there and go, oh, this is drafted by the Red Wings and he looks really good. And wow, he's going to be a perfect player because he's in our system. Sure, fine, whatever. We can play that game.
Interdivision trades are weird, but we made one on Sunday, right?
Right. That's the other thing too. I'm not saying it has to be William Nylander, but I am saying this is the type of thing that needs to get added to this roster for us to really get excited. But we did make that first great move. Now, I mean, how much more do we add to that piece of the conversation? Right? Like, we need that extra piece. This is the lineup we could come up with if we could put it together. And of course, this isn't perfect either. Now, even while I was looking at it. So I made this morning while I was at a meeting at work. But there's definitely, I probably put Rasmussen up on the second line there, bring Berggren down to the third line, and have Berggren, Soderblom, and Perron playing together. We've almost got 2 kids and a goat there getting built again. And of course, Marco Kasper has got to fill in there somewhere, is where I was kind of starting to go with this. So we have all of this potential that could help fuel this to the next level. And I think this is a lot of depth to start building with. And you set yourself up right now with the amount of guys you have on this team that could center your top 9. Like Marco Kasper, I'd be looking over my shoulder. And I don't hate the kid, but Yzerplan is now showing that he will pull the trigger to bring in talent now, to bring in proven goal scoring. Oh boy. I was starting to think at first, like, oh gosh, we got a center. We had some other routes we wanted to go. We got a Nate Danielson, who's being, the first thing that comes out of everybody's mouth is, yes, he'll be ready faster. He's a better two-way center than some of the other guys that we were kind of crossing our fingers for. I'm still sad about Dalibor, but moving on.
Well,
but that puts us in this realm of maybe guys that can fill similar roles in Danielson and Kasper, do it different ways, but neither one of them is going to be asked to be centering a top line based on the projection.
I mean, I don't know. We don't have the most cap space, but gosh, are we? We're just in a really good spot. I mean, like the Ducks still have like 29 mil. The Blackhawks, which I grind my molars because I know they're going to start. Hey, we got Bedard. Let's fucking go! And they're going to just start trying to pick guys up. And they have like twice the cap space that we do at 17.9. But as far as teams to kind of keep an eye out for that have pretty good players, man, Toronto is in a fascinating spot because if their guys are finally like, you know what, this is the Detroit Lions, they're cursed, I'm out. Basically anybody worth a damn on their team is either a free agent next year or the year after that. So, I mean, if they want to start stockpiling to get, draft picks and or prospects that they can control for a while, woo, we could really make that happen. But you can also look at, Vancouver, Tampa, Montreal, and then a few other teams over like Pittsburgh, Vegas, but, they're only over by like $1 mil or $2 mil. And then the Kings and Colorado.
Yeah, and the Canucks too, their situation just gets worse, like moving into next season where they're going to have to start paying Elias Pettersson a little bit more as, we could go back a couple years to our conversation of trying to pick him up. That's dead and gone, but Vancouver's situation does get a little more dire from the cap perspective. Although, you know what? They do get to drop Tyler Myers. I don't know, but then they got to pay Philip Baronek too. And in the video game, they ended up paying him $10 million. So you guys Oh, I mean, yeah, there's some options out there. There's some teams that are going to need some help. And then there's teams that are going to just absolutely blow it as the season goes on. But this is kind of where, I don't know where you guys want to take that conversation. Are you going to be okay saying goodbye to Elmer Soderblom? Mike?
Well, that's my guy. I could lose Casper, even though he's probably going to end up being a better player. I just love Elmer. I just love that he's gigantic, and I feel like somehow we got to make that work, and that he could be some incredible defensive forward with his 20-foot wingspan when you throw in a hockey stick. But I mean, that's going to be the next discussion, right? Because when in the press conferences, Steve was asked, are you done? He said, well, if a great player becomes available, we'd probably talk about that. But for now, for the most part, we're probably done. So what he was getting at is I'm probably done, picking up peripheral guys at this juncture. We're looking for a star to become available. That's how I interpreted that. And knowing again that we do have this abundance of young guys, I don't know if we're still trying to win an AHL title, Matt. I hope that's not the case. So I don't mind moving these dudes. We do have the extra picks. And as we've talked ad nauseum, once you start winning more games, the picks have less value because they're further and further into the first round. They're further and further into the second round. So yeah, Matt, I think our next game is going to end up being which one of these guys are absolute must-keeps. And does that exist if you're trading for, the best and brightest? Because usually you do have to give something up to get something.
What if you had to give up Marco Kasper and Albert Johansson and a first round pick, but then you get Clayton Keller from Arizona? So let's just talk, this is a guy who plays for the Arizona Coyotes, but is still able to get close to 40 goals last season, 86 points total, 49 assists. Maybe another draft pick has to get mixed in there, but that's a team Arizona Coyotes can't afford to just hang on to Clayton Keller forever. What choice? But if Keller wants to get out of there, that's where that conversation starts. But, man, I'm kind of.
So I don't
the conversation
dislike that move, but I feel like we'd have to be they have tons of cap space still, so they could afford to give him whatever the hell he wants. I mean, do you really think they're on the cusp of getting rid of somebody like that?
It's the Coyotes, and if
it's just poor
these guys are frustrated enough, they're going to make that request. I want out of here. This is going to be hell for how many years? I mean, look at, if you go to the cap friendly page, how many draft picks the Coyotes have. They're loading up to reset, right? So let's help them start resetting right now. We'll give them some of our prospects. You know what? We'll give them Andrew Kopp too, and Ben Sherratt. They've got to hit the cap floor.
Matt, you're almost too generous, I think, with these offers.
No, but I gave them some quality stuff.
I mean, dang. Can we revisit Pedersen in Vancouver since he's going to be a restricted free agent?
No, ex-Blackhawks. What are you talking about?
We got tons of those.
We got Alex Debrincat.
We got so many. We got to trade them for other ones. How many we have? Oh, you know what? There was one other guy I was going to throw in there. I think Jared actually dropped him in there.
Mike, how about this one from Performance Art?
Oh, Performance Art. That would make me squeal with glee, and Matt he'd probably have to eat soft food from all the molar grinding he'd be doing from seeing Patrick Kane in a Red Wing uniform.
Well, I mean, take away all of the evilness that is Patrick Kane and Dan B doing a throw up emoji. You put Patrick Kane and Debrincat on the same line again, trying to ignite the 40 goal scorer once again. I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's not the worst thing in the world from a hockey perspective. Now, from will I still be able to stomach the Red Wings? Maybe after a couple of drinks. But for sure, I won't be sober and enjoying seeing Patrick Kane skate around in a Red Wings jersey. Blake throwing out there. No more free agents. That's right, Blake. Steve Yzerman gets crushed in those free agent negotiations.
I thought we had
performance art. Dan B will be dancing once he sees Kane's passes. I got to tell you, performance art. Mike was right. I don't think I could stomach it. I can't do it. I'm gonna keep trading away our prospects for Clayton Keller. How many prospects do I need to give up? Damn it.
I thought we had one more kind of cool name out there.
Well, Jared was thrown out there. Kyle Connor.
No, it was
the guy who's on that goal list.
Tarasenko.
Oh, as a free agent? Yeah, he's out there. Jared called that out too, because I wanted to bring that up at the beginning of the episode, because Jared and I were on the same wavelength. But Jared threw out there just the sneaky pickup. Like this whole thing about getting Debrincat out of Ottawa was so Ottawa could pick up Tarasenko and that deal could get done. But then if Steve just turned around and signed Tarasenko a couple days later, oh my God, would that be beautiful? Yeah, that would be fun on like a 1 year go, right? Like that's not going to screw you up. You got a ton of flexibility. I might think about it. I don't know.
Because I was pretty convinced we weren't going to get Debrincat, so I was talking myself into Tarasenko and being like, oh, maybe he'll turn the clock back. And we've had pretty good success with guys who wore St. Louis jerseys for a little while.
Yep, there you go. Here's Jared in the comments right away.
Yeah, Jared, see you right there, bud. Oh, performance art. Oh, my God. Going in the DeLorean for this one. Sign Mantha once he's bought out for $1 million. Let him live on the third and fourth line. Scores 15 a year. Woo!
I mean, I don't hate that, to be honest. But, I mean, it's something to think about, right? Bring Mantha back. You got one of Larkin's buddies back. Raise the morale just a little bit. Just a little bit. But yeah, at the right price. Give him a sniff. Dan B has it, though. This is Mantha will be snapped up by Montreal. For sure.
Did Kane already have his surgery?
I don't know, but he said he's going to wait to sign in November, I think, was what Elliot Friedman reported.
Okay.
So you're trying to figure out, like, how are we getting this to work out?
I'm not dying to have him. If I had the choice, and even though it would make me squeal with glee to see you so angry over the move, I would probably still have Tarasenko.
Well, happy to hear that. I don't think either one's going to happen. I think they're going to go look for their for sure cup, and I think that's where Patrick Kane was like, let's wait. Let's get through half the season. I want to be able to figure out what the right choices here.
If he's smart, what he's doing is waiting for some injuries to pile up in Tampa Bay, so he could sign there for $500,000 and then be part of their next cup run when they shrewdly manage the cap to their benefit come playoff time again.
Blake wants to know, aren't we happy? Tampa didn't grab up Zadina.
Sure. No, kind of indifferent. I appreciate Zadina making our Jose.
San Jose.
Yeah,
right?
He's a Shark. No, I appreciate him making our cap sheet a little bit cleaner. Just saying, nope, just outright release me. I will forfeit all my money for the next 2 years. So I don't hold any grudge against him. That was very nice of him.
I mean, yeah, and then he took a pay cut, to go play with the Sharks. What was it? He was like close to 2, and now he's at 1.1. Kind of weird from Zadina's perspective, but
Jim Johnson, by the way, throwing in any thoughts on a trade for Konechny?
Yeah, we did talk about Konechny, and I made the comment, like, I definitely wanted to Debrincat over Konechny. Like, I wouldn't be as excited about the Konechny trade. But I did have that thought this week. And when I was making the choice to kind of talk about adding to the top 6, and I just for funsies threw a Nylander because I know that's who Mike wants to talk about. Konechny's not a terrible option.
No,
at this point, it makes more sense.
I just wouldn't be super geeked, I guess. I'd be like, oh, that's neat. I really want to pillage, a big 80-point dude from Toronto. That's what I want.
Well, I don't know what does Konechny's contract look like. I'm pulling him up right now.
He's at... Ooh, Flyers are in a little trouble too. He's at 5.5, so he's got a very reasonable contract.
I swear I can't.
5.5. You got this year, and then next year. 2 years, 5.5 per.
And here's what you're looking at so far. 31 goals last year. 16 the year before, playing 79 games. It was 31. It was a half goal a game last year for Philly, and they were goals like moving. Like goals on the break, moving fast, whipping them past the goalie. It's fun to watch. Shooting percentage was a little bit higher than you'd like. So the season, looked a little bit better than I think. And we've seen him at 79 games and only getting 16 goals, and seen him at 50 games getting 11 goals. But 31 goals is what he got last year. It doesn't hurt to try and play the game like. Are we trending up? I know one of our buddies, Anthony, on Twitter got very angry and said I'm wrong about Konechny, but I still say it's not the Debrincat pickup because you're talking about a 40-goal scorer and a guy who did it. Jay Fresh made the comments too. I don't know if you saw that on Twitter, but a lot gets attributed to Patrick Kane, but Jay Fresh pulled the stats. I would go check it out. But and he's a smarter guy than us. But he said, according to the analytics, it's actually not the difference that we all think it was. And Debrincat was able to make the difference as a goal scorer on his own a lot of the time. So it was maybe, and maybe that's unfair to sort of paint that with a broad brush because you never know what the existence of another guy on the ice could mean. But there's something to that Debrincat has that same sort of ability that we saw with Verano, where it's just like, all right, puck in the back of the net, here we go, boop. So
yeah, I did just want to throw out there too that Tarasenko getting up there, but he still had 69 games last year.
Nice,
and he scored 50 points, still solid. Year before that, he played 75 games. It was a 30-goal season for him. So he actually finished with 82 points. And then just a couple years before that, he was, kind of nursing some boo-boos. 14 points in 24 games, 10-10. Ooh. But before that, he did have, a couple back-to-back 30-goal seasons in 18 and 19. So you keep him healthy, you're still getting a pretty goddamn, productive guy. So if you're doing a short term, one of a Steve Yzerman special, a real short term commitment for Tarasenko, that'd be pretty sweet on your second or third line. I wouldn't complain about that at all.
I'm going through like every team on Cap Friendly right now. Just a quick comment. I don't know how Minnesota wins a fucking game. Oh my God.
What team?
Minnesota. I'm really worried that we're built very similar right now to Minnesota, and that's always been our biggest fear. And we still don't have like the game-breaking goal scorer in like our prospect list. Kind of similar to Minnesota. Okay, Mike, we're just talking in circles now. We're circling the drain. I think it's time we remind everybody this was a good episode. This was fun to talk about, but it is going to be our last conversation, at least for a couple weeks here. So I have some vacations coming up. So we're going to miss you guys. Go Red Wings. And I don't know, unless something huge happens, I think
if we trade for a Toronto
summer for a little bit
Maple Leaf, I think we might have to do an emergency pod, man.
What if it's Tavares? I guess that's still major news.
We will hold a very confused episode, but we can still look into that.
All right.
And real quick, Decoy saying, "Don't let your fears run wild."
Oh God,
Minnesota Wild jab.
They are. Scared.
And Jim Johnson throwing in Tarasenko wants a multi-year contract worth close to $6. Woo! That's why he's still a free agent, brother. Nobody's offering that right now.
Woof. Well, Ottawa apparently is looking at it.
Ugh.
Poor Ottawa. There's nothing I want more actually going into this next season than Ottawa to just fumble it right out of the gate. Start last in the division. Just have everybody questioning Pierre Dorian from top to bottom. Oh,
they'll never be that bad because they still have my hero Tim Stützle.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming aboard. If you hit that like button real quick, that'll make me happy. Subscribe so you guys will know when we're back at it. We're not going to be gone till training camp, but yeah, like I said, at least a couple weeks here, and then we'll get back at it once there's some news to talk about, and we could start pre-gaming for how deep this team's going to go.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll miss you. See you.
Bye.
Bye.